Welcome to the Future in 15 show. I'm host Caleb Parker, and we're back again at Allianz Park up in North London. We were here last year on Halloween talking about the DMC model. Today, we just finished a panel talking about pitching for agencies and pitching for corporate work, whether we should charge, whether we should not. We'll talk a little bit about that today. So we're here today with Angie Mason, and I am excited to chat with you about various things. Your company, first of all, has some news, but you're also the 2019 chair of the HBAA. So I think I just did your introduction, but could you please let everyone know who you are?
Yes, so as you said, I'm Angie Mason. I am currently chairman at Absolute Corporate Events. It's a company I started some 29 years ago. And as you said, currently the 2019 chair of the HBAA. I've had a 16-year gap because I was fortunate enough to be chair back in 2003, which seems an awful long time ago now.
We were just chatting about that earlier and how so much has changed, but not much has changed with the HBAA.
It's interesting because the HBAA is 22 years old this year, and I've been involved in it for 22 years. And as much as some of the issues change, a lot remain the same. So we're still talking about some of the same subjects between venues, agencies and clients, education, best practice, and all those lovely things. But this year, I'm super excited to be able to support our strategy for this year, which is supporting the next generation.
What is the next generation? So every year we have a theme, and we've coming on a 5-year plan.
This is year 4 of the 5-year strategy, and we will build on that strategy for the next few years. But this year, it's my job to focus on supporting the next generation. And my focus this year will be on providing some resource and toolkits to enable us to reach out to younger people, to enable them to come into the industry to learn more about it. What I have found is that people consider it a low-skilled industry, and we all know it's not. There are so many job roles available, from videography, photography, production, creativity. If you love spreadsheets, you're going to adore this industry, and you go into logistics and event management, venue finding, customer service, excellence, sales and marketing. Obviously, there are that you can come and be a culinary genius. There are so many roles, and what I find sometimes is, when there are career days at school and in colleges, nobody is there representing the hospitality and events industry sufficiently. So what we are going to have in place by the end of the year is a toolkit where people can go out to schools and talk confidently about all the opportunities within the industry.
So when you say people can go to the school, the members of the HBAA and their HR and their sales teams and so forth can go recruiting?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And another role that I work quite closely with the Prince's Trust. I'm a mentor for them in secondary schools and for their young entrepreneurs. And what we would like to do at some point this year is to have a collaboration whereby they will bring in some of their young people, and hopefully I can gather some support from our membership, from venues and agencies, and we can go in and we can share some skills and share some information, and maybe just open a pathway where youngsters can come in. We desperately need new talent in the industry, and I think sometimes it gets lost in translation in terms of what the opportunities are.
And I'm going to go back to your company to tie it in. So your company has been going for 29 years?
Mm-hmm.
29 years. And when we were talking earlier, you said the culture you want to build at your company is like a family.
Recruiting is key. We were talking about sales earlier on as well, and I think, do you know what, if you're going to make the best you can of your business, you've got to surround yourself with the best people. I'm a great believer in not employing people to tell them what to do. I want to employ people so they can tell me what to do and make me look good. So we do invest heavily in our staff, and we try to recruit the very best people that we can. We see that as a great investment, but also we have a continual policy of investing and offering benefits to our staff in terms of progression and personal development. all sorts of benefits that are not just monetary. And we would like to eventually be recognised as one of the best companies to work for in our industry.
Well, there's a quote that talks about value, and particularly around talent coming in and feeling valued in the workplace. And the quote says, value is not an equation, it's a feeling, it's how people feel.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what you're saying. You want them to feel like they're part of something, they're part of a family.
And interesting, because there's a little tie in there with my HBAA work for this year, because again, high on my agenda is the issue of mental health in the workplace. And as you mentioned earlier on, that the events industry is one of the most stressful places to work. So I want to talk about quite openly having compassionate workplaces, having compassionate leadership. Something like £42 billion a year is lost in productivity in the UK through mental health issues. 1 in 6 people at any given time are going to be having some struggle with their mental health. And this could be not just absenteeism from work, but presenteeism. So you can be at your desk and you're not performing because you're under all sorts of stresses, either from outside of work or inside of work. So it's really important that that's recognised.
And that's something that HBA is
absolutely.
Okay.
So we've got a course together, a mental health first aid course. I did my training along with my executive committee last week. So we're all fully qualified mental health first aiders. That course is going to be open to not just membership, but anybody that wants to attend that.
What does that mean? You're now fully trained. What did you learn?
So we're not here to diagnose or heal. We're here to, like first intervention, like first responders. To recognise, put out signposts, help, assist, listen, and just generally point in the right direction and make sure that, first of all, that person is safe and they know where to get help that they need.
Well, it's a massive issue in this industry. You talked about the productivity loss, but there was an article last year, I want to say it was Forbes, but don't quote me on that, but it listed the top 10 most stressful jobs, and the events industry was in the top 5. And
I fully agree with that.
And we often take it for granted that people just get on with your work, but whether it's at work stress or outside of the work, having that stress can cause issues. And personally, I think we end up thinking, oh, mental disease is a negative connotation.
There's a stigma to it.
It's a stigma. Shouldn't be. We all have issues.
Not.
Nobody's the same. And so I'm glad the HBA is taking that up.
Yeah, no, it's so important, and it's just because it's an illness that you can't have visible symptoms to, in terms of a rash or something else. It is just as important to be treated, to access help and support.
So going back to your company, you had some big news recently about your company's growth.
Yeah,
can you talk about that?
We've had awesome growth in the last 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
And that is mainly, again, I was saying about investing in people and bringing in the right people. And do you know, in this industry, you've really got to be flexible and adapt if you want to grow. When I first started, we were a venue finding company. And then as years go by, you need to, accept challenges that changes in the world bring in terms of technology and everything else. And you do have to be flexible and adaptable. And over the years, we introduced new services. Demands from clients were, they were asking us for new things. And after a long time, I got to a point personally where I was finding it difficult to keep reinventing the company. So, like I said earlier on, you surround yourself with the best people you can find. So I found Chris Parnham, and between us we have forged a strategy that he has taken forward brilliantly. We have a senior top team that is really all industry experts, and we formed a strategy and we've adapted to that, and long may that last. It's produced some good results.
Chris, also a former chair of the HBAA.
He is indeed. He's a magnificent leader, and has great creativity and foresight. So the company is in really good hands.
That's fantastic. So thinking about the next generation then, and thinking about challenges that the next generation may face, Going back to the panel we had today, I just want to bring this into the conversation here. We talked about how agencies quite often are getting asked to pitch, and it's a big investment going in and pitching to try to win business when maybe 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 10 might be 1. It's a massive investment, a lot of cash spent on that. One of the questions that came up is, should agencies actually charge their clients to come in and pitch? And your view is no?
My view is no. I think I take a fairly, I don't know, you might call it an old-fashioned view. I would recommend and support new business via building relationships. You've got to know who you're going to be working with and collaborating with. You've got to be able to work with them, immerse yourself in their brand, understand what they're trying to achieve and what their outcomes are going to be. And you don't generally get that by going for a pitch. It is about talking, understanding what they want, and I said what their outcomes are going to be. Quite often I think a pitch situation is about, if I'm generalising, procurement might want to look where they can save money, but actually what we should be doing is asking what they want their outcomes to be. Are we looking to save money doing something? Say it was a venue fine pitch, they're looking to make overall savings on their meeting spend, or is it going to be an event where actually who you should be talking to, the main stakeholders, are going to be the marketeers. So you need to know what the message is that they're trying to get out, or the job that they are trying to do, what they're trying to achieve. And then you can work out the best solution for them. I personally don't believe that going in, filling in the RFIs, and then just going in and trying to glorify what you can do is the best way forward.
So I've been an HBAA member for 4 or 5 years now, mostly wearing an agency hat for most of those years. What I've enjoyed and appreciated is that as a community, as a membership, while we might be competing in the greater industry, it's a very collaborative, it's a very sharing industry. And what would you tell someone starting their agency out today, a new agency? What advice? Somebody's going to be watching this right now. What would you tell them starting out?
Know your strengths, know your value proposition, trust yourself to do a good job. Go and communicate with the people that you want to work with. Form relationships with your venues. I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but back when I started, and I said this earlier on, we had no internet, no email, no Microsoft. It literally was a fax machine and a Commodore 64.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you know, I had filing cabinets full of brochures from hotels, because when I sent a proposal out, I had to put a brochure in from every hotel. I had to walk up to the post office, post it. So, you know, obviously life has changed. But at that point, I had no choice. I couldn't hide behind email. I had to pick up the phone and talk to people. And I think sometimes today that doesn't happen so much. People, this industry can hide behind technology, which is key to be able to do what we do. But equally, you know, pick up that phone, look at people, talk to people, go visit them, make friends with them. And I think that's what got me through, is you could sit on a phone and cold call, it's going to get you nowhere, and it'll get you nowhere today. But if you use your network, you forge your friendships and relationships, because most of my clients are friends now, that would be the advice I give. Join an association, get the support you need. And the HBAA is unique because there are very few associations where people that are competing share all their knowledge and their best practice, and that's absolutely what I love about it. It's fully supportive, whether you're agent and agent, venue and venue, or agent and venue, and it's a great place to come for advice and support and friendship and networking.
It's certainly been my experience, and I've made some great friends. Speaking of the next generation, looking ahead, the future of our industry, what are current challenges that the current generation faces that the next generation can come in and help us with?
Well, the obvious answer for me on that one is something that I'm not really very good at, is the technology piece. The younger generation are just amazing at just picking things up, innovating, and finding solutions that the previous generation would find different solutions too. So I think actually a collaboration between the two will actually benefit the industry and the individual companies greatly. I think it's really important that we have a really good mix of next generation and more experienced people working in any agency to provide leadership and advice and support, but also us being able to learn from them, take new ideas, innovative new ideas, and take our events forward.
Well, it's certainly going to be an exciting year ahead. I am excited to be another year in HBAA under your leadership.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing more wins and more successes in the media for Absolute Corporate Events. Where can people find you online? Do you prefer Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram? Do you have a preference? Your website? Your phone? You want people to call you, email you?
All of those. Then we have our Facebook presence, we have our Instagram and our Twitter and our website too.
Excellent. Well, thank you for participating earlier in the panel and letting me talk to you today.
My pleasure.
All right, Angie.
Thank you, Caleb.
Cheers. Well, thank you for tuning in today, and until next time, take care of yourselves.